we're out of order.
Right. I went on that Laura Day website yesterday and I had a moment today where I couldn't like sit quiet. My mind was kind of going, and one of her meditations was saying that in the uh practicing the intuitive experience, like practicing your intuition, is that you sometimes don't get calm, but paying attention to all the sensations that are happening. So I had to switch to that today because I couldn't get quiet this morning. But that was really helpful to pay attention to, like the breeze from outside that was touching my body and being just aware of what was happening, the sensations that I was having in my six senses or whatever. So that really helped, and it made me not feel so crazy about not being still, because I couldn't be still this morning. I just was all over the place.
Yeah.
In my mind,
And that was one of the things that I liked about doing. That was one of the things that I really liked about Laura Day, was that in her book, she broke down stuff like, like what might come up is like, you might think about the taste of an apple, and don't dismiss it, because what does that apple mean for you? It could be an intuitive hit. And so sometimes when I smell stuff, or and sometimes it's for no earthly reason. There was a guy I had went to see, this was years ago. I'm always talking about years ago, guys, years ago. Anyway, I met some guy. This was back when I was doing Toastmasters. It was that long ago.
I was going to ask you about that. That is on my to-do list.
Oh, Toastmasters?
To ask you about what you thought about that. Okay, so next time. That's good. That's good. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. So I had met some guy through Toastmasters, and so some years ago, he lives over in Detroit. Oh, he's actually a psychiatrist too. What serendipitous. I hadn't even thought about that, but I will say dry as a piece of
rye toast.
Yes. That's what I was thinking about. What kind of toast? Because I love rye toast. But, oh my gosh, it is so dry. Wait 1 second. Alexa, stop. Turn and stay stopped. Yeah, but he is as dry as a piece of toast. And so, but I had gone over to visit him. And I remember being in his house, and he had just bought this house, and he bought it at an auction, and he bought it as is. So he had to do a lot of clean out. So he had just bought this house, and I went over there to visit in Detroit, and the guy who he bought the house from was his kung fu teacher when he was a kid. And so there was like a lot of stuff in the house. I got some Buddha statues. There was this crystal thing that I really wanted, but it was like, yeah, he was like thinking, yeah, I'm not giving you that. Anyway, but I got 2 Buddha statues out of there. And anyway, when I was there, I kept smelling honeysuckle. And I was like, honeysuckle, what? In this dusty old house, why would I smell honeysuckle? But I kept smelling honeysuckle. And I got the sensation of my mother. And I kept trying to figure out and put the clues together. But I don't know, he probably wasn't, as intrigued about my intuitive hits as he was. And I don't know if it was for him or for me, but I just thought that the sensations were really, I never knew if it was somebody related to somebody who used to live in the house, because this man's, I guess his whole family had died. His mother had lived in the house, and then he had lived in the house. The house was intriguing to me. As a matter of fact, when you went in the basement, there was a safe that was built into the floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he, of course, you don't have the combination, but it's like, it looks like it was built into the floor. And they had actually looked like they at one time had a kennel there, because the garage had these, it was a brick garage, and anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you all that stuff about the house, but it was around the time I was reading that book. And so all of these things kept coming to me, and I wanted to know what the heck was the what with this.
Yeah.
I never did find out. But now I pay attention to everything, like, and sometimes you'll hear me say stuff. It's like I know that I'm going in an about face. I still haven't figured out my own stuff, because I have had moments where my stomach just started, like, in the middle of while I'm talking, it's like, okay, what's that? And sometimes I say my stomach just turned over. I just don't, I don't know if that means
I think it was interesting, and I'm going to pay more attention, because it is an answer to a prayer that I've had for a very long time. And I think you had mentioned it before, and then you mentioned it yesterday, and I thought, let me look into this, because it just kind of registered. Anyway, it sat with me, so I looked into it. I had a patient that didn't show up, and so I looked into it, and then I was listening to a couple of her meditations, and it gave that sharing that intuitive meditation is not the one that is calm and quiet. It's more awareness of what's going on, and like paying attention to what pictures come to your mind when the things are going on. What is it that you're seeing? And that was really, really good. And it was different, and it gave me permission to not be still. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So that was I have a friend who says that, he is just like a walking meditation. He was like, I don't sit still and meditate. I am meditation.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And now I get it, because I think that he is quite intuitive too. So
Okay.
really cool. Mm-hmm.
Good. Let me see. And yeah, so I haven't had time to look into any of the stuff, but I mentioned stuff and I just keep moving, and I don't know what it is about Toastmasters that you're thinking about joining the Toastmasters group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I when I did Toastmasters, it was because I wanted the opportunity to speak. And yeah, so if what you're doing is I think that what happens is that you develop a certain, when you're forced to speak, when you are forced to do something, I think you develop courage. They give you, some of them can give you some instruction, but I think it's more the development um of courage in what you do.
Okay.
And that was where I got the falling forward thing, because everybody wanted, people always were telling me about how to do something. Even now people will sit there and say, oh, you don't use notes. Well, maybe no, get
Notes is a software, or like your notes?
Notes, like notes.
Oh.
Like I should write down what the heck I'm gonna say. And I'm like, that's not the way spirit works through me. right?
Got it. Yeah.
And so everybody has to find their own thing. So I like, say for instance, I go to churches and I see ministers who read their sermons. And in my mind, if I was to read to you a sermon, I wouldn't be able to hear what the heck God was saying to me.
Okay.
And so I try to stay open, and I try my best to translate what I'm hearing, what sensations touch me. And so sometimes even in the midst of while I'm talking, it's like, I got to do an about face, or I got to put a bookmark in there and I got to go over here, because I'm getting sensations. I'm getting, like hits. And so it's like, I don't know who I'm saying this for. All I know is that this just came up.
What I'm to
And
say.
so I think for me, it was through doing that I got the confidence to do, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes complete sense. It's like being
Yeah.
thrown in the water and imagining that you can't swim and finding out that I can swim.
Yeah,
I can,
doggone it.
I can
Doggone
do
it.
this.
Yeah,
Do this.
it's in that process. And I think that you are better able to tune in to people, so when I tune in, I'm looking and I'm feeling folks. And so sometimes sometimes people get distracted because you got somebody that'll sit there and they act like they ain't paying attention, or they fall asleep, or they keep looking at their watches and all of that stuff. Sometimes I have been in situations where I was like thinking to myself, well, I'm so sorry I'm keeping y'all so long. But at the same time, like, damn it.
I'm here.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I'm coming full circle. It's coming. I've also been in situations where I'm thinking to myself, like, doggone it, I said I was going to be here for 2 hours. I'm going to be here for 2 hours. You can either decide to come along willingly, or I'm going to drag your butt along with me. But that's going to happen. Girl, I got, and then I got to switch my focus, but I got a contract at Cleveland State one time to give a series of talks. And I get in the room, and Prester Pickett was there or something like that. But I get in the room, and girl, ain't nobody there. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He was like, "There's nobody here." I was like thinking, I said, he got that check in his hand. All right, y'all, I'm gonna talk to an empty room. Girl. And so he had sat down, and then people started drifting in from out of the hallway and all of this. Girl, I was like, I talked my butt off that day.
Thank you, Miss Rita. Is that her name? Miss Rita, is that what you shared with us the other day? Miss Rita told you to talk.
Yeah. You talk to a tree, girl. I will talk. I have been
my God.
situations like that. It's like, I'm just going, I'm gonna talk to an empty room. I did a Course in Miracles conference, and I was thinking to myself, everybody was talking about, I was, making it seem like I was not a legitimate Course in Miracles teacher, and they were going to all the big name people. And when the evaluations came out, or no, when they got to my session, I had standing room only. And when the evaluations came out, they said by far mine was the favorite. I was like, yes. Although I haven't spoken at a Course in Miracles conference since. All good. It's all good. Because I am never the traditional teacher. I cannot stay on script. I don't care what happens. It seems like if I'm talking about anatomy of the spirit, I gotta go and grab my
Carl Jung book.
Carl Jung. I gotta grab The Power of Myth. I gotta grab Laura Day. I gotta grab this. Because when it comes, it just comes, and it's all. a piece of that. Hey, Miss Erica.
Morning, Erica.
Because you are not boring. Well, I'm so
What'd
glad
she say?
I'm not boring.
Oh, yeah, no.
Good. I'm so glad because you know what? But you know what, when you are concerned with what people think about you, what you do is you get in a box and you try to stay in the box because the box is the acceptable thing. I want to kick the box, right? Well, wait a minute. I got a spasm when you bring the box into the same room that I'm in, right? And so when you bring it into the same room I'm in, I want to kick it and then stomp it and throw it back at you, right? No boxes, no boxes. And when you learn that just as you are is just fabulous, yeah, you just the heck with the box. And you'll see little young people sitting over looking at you like, is she really going there? And I'll be like, yeah, because I'm done with the box. I'm not fitting in the box. You still learning about the box.
Right.
I'm done. I'm done with that.
Well, for me, I know that I have a tendency to want to make sure that I'm following technique. And so that's why I was considering Toastmasters, because I know that there's probably things that I could tighten up. And I'm just curious about tightening it up because I'm putting myself out in the public and I want to make sure that I'm hitting the boxes because I like.
Yeah. So they do have protocol. You know how when you get in front of the church, it's like you say to the pastor, to the first lady, to the deacons, to the this, to the that, to the elected officials. You go through and you salute everybody. They don't teach you that in Toastmasters necessarily. But you go through the protocol stuff, and then first giving honor to God, who is the life, and they got all of that stuff. And so people are really looking for you to hit the markers, as if when you hit the markers, it shows that you have been pasteurized properly.
Okay.
Right. It
I don't want to get us off topic, so we'll talk later. I know, because I want your expertise. So, but I just, so we can stay on topic because I don't want people to be like, I didn't come here for this, and I appreciate that.
Okay. But wait a minute, is Miss Erica over here? She's over here talking about. She said, leave the boxes alone, Stephanie. Controversy is engaging. Is that what I am? Controversy?
Is that what you mean? Okay.
I'm off that chain, I guess, huh? Whatever.
I can respect that. Yeah. No, I get it too.
Yeah. So I do look at people who are straight, and I recognize that there is a lot of criticism out there. People will troll you and talk about you and all of that stuff. I get the same thing, right? I get it. I get people who talk about me, who don't like me, but then they request me back. Whatever that's about. It's the engaging. That's right.
I agree. Yeah.
Erica gonna say pasteurized. LOL. Yeah, pasteurized. You know what that means.
It's so true.
All right. So
I gotta get my book.
So yesterday, so thank you, God, that the word spoken here, I feel with your light, love, and wisdom of the highest. I am so grateful for this day, even this rainy day here in Cleveland. I am excited for this opportunity to have a conversation again. So with that, as we shift our attention over to the anatomy of the spirit that you just saw Stephanie flash across the screen with Carol and Miss, as we shift our attention there, we were talking about yesterday the power of your choice, right? And how significant choices are, that there are never any idle no idle choices. All choice carries with it power. And so choosing is what they say, a process of creation in and of itself. So as we were kind of going through and talking about that, there was a lot of stuff that came up. And we talked about a lot of different, so Stephanie just reminded me that we talked about Laura Day. I talked about that Mantek chai. We talked about some other stuff, Joseph Campbell stuff. And oh, you were off screen at the end of that.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I am cold in here. And I really want to turn off this light. I have my ceiling fan that is going, y'all. I'm sorry about. Let me turn the camera off for 1 second, and just turn this off. All right. I don't know. I don't know if my light has shifted or what, but I needed to turn off that ceiling fan because and I don't want to. I'm short, so I can't reach the ceiling fan. So it's easier for me to just turn it off. All right, so Stephanie had left out at the end of this, and when I was talking about going through all this craziness that I was doing about some of the stuff when it came down to choice at the end. And so but we were talking about fear and choices, as well as faith and our choices. So right now we are at the top of page 133, and so it says here, and this is where I got off on a tangent, and it says choice has a mysterious aspect, however, for we will never completely know the full outcome of any choice that we make. And so the word that I used was circuitous, right? So, and I talked yesterday about the choice I made when I went overseas and how I could still see the tentacles of that. But say, for instance, if you were like in a doctor's office, right? A doctor might, if they were wanted to know the impact of something. Say, for instance, you drank some dye or you ate some food that had coloring in it, just so you can see how it impacts the different organs or how it moves through a system. And so even though you think that you do something and there is a straight line from cause to effect, the choices you make may impact stuff that you don't even recognize or know about, and people and their lives. You don't know.
The butterfly effect.
Yes, yes, yes. You never know. You want to explain that for the people who hadn't heard about the butterfly effect?
The butterfly effect, there's a theory that says that a butterfly's wings, that when it flaps in one part of the world, it is affecting the trajectory of other things that are happening in another part of the world, the wind movement, the storms, that each movement of the butterfly effect has an impact on something that is beyond the butterfly, big beyond the butterfly. And so that our lives are, I relate that to choice, that when we make the choices that we make, the impacts of them are it's just widespread, it's far reaching beyond anything. And I think that us coming into an awareness of how our thoughts create realities and how all of this plays into how it all works together is so crucial, because one thought has this rippling effect, like this goes beyond this. If you can imagine an ocean wide, my thought has an ocean wide experience beyond what I could even imagine. So what's on the other side of this round globe is being impacted by a thought that I may put into the universe. No, it am putting into the universe.
Right. So we never know. So a choice that you make to and for me, I really try to pay attention to the impact of my choices. Like many of you know, I don't eat meat, right? I eat fish, but I want wild caught fish, so I don't think that they're over farming stuff, right? I need it to be so my footprint needs to be smaller, right? And I think that all of us have to be conscious about how our life affects every other life, because there are, you know, there are no like just small innocent choices. Like, if you can imagine that, you know, could you imagine? You know, sometimes the darndest things happen. Okay, so I just got a flash like right in my head, right? One of those intuitive flashes that says, "Wonder if you got to heaven and God turned out to be a chicken," right? And it's
Wow.
looking at you like, you know.
Thank you for not eating me. No.
or like, do you know how many of me you killed, right? Just for what? I mean, to participate in in that, even if you think you're doing it passively, every just every bite, every place, whether you paid for it or it was gifted to you, it's like, wonder if that was the case. I mean, it just it would boggle my mind, right? I'm just saying, what if? so so the choices that we make, you never know, because it's never a direct line. I often tell people about things that I've done in the past that I run into again in the present. And when it happens, it's like, oh man, wow, look at that, like how, whatever that may be, you never really know. And so that's why they say that a primary lesson of the second chakra is the paradoxical nature of choice. What seems right, what seems right can turn out wrong, but what appears good can end up bad. Just when everything is going smoothly, chaos happens and things just, So sometimes, sometimes it seems like, say for instance, you make a choice. I have friends who want to chart out what they call their career. And they make a choice for a job based on something like how much it pays, or advancement potential, or what's another thing that people take jobs for?
Location.
Huh?
Location.
Location, yeah. So say for instance, somebody took a job for something other than the job, right? So it's paying in the range that you want, or it's got the prestige that you want, or it's got, all of these other things. But really, you are not following your heart or your passion. And so sometimes we take these jobs and we do things that are not resonating with our life purpose. And then we wonder why we get into them and it just seems like all hell breaks loose. And we're reading a book about healing, that because we are not in something that enlivens us and impassions us, we make ourselves sick.
Yeah.
We get ourselves set up for all kinds of dis-ease and illnesses that are related to being in a position that we hate, right?
Yep.
I used to work when I worked a job, and I used to work a job, and I went to I'm sorry, somebody texted me. I worked a job, and I used to, every time I walked into that building, I would get a migraine headache. My headaches would be so intense. I mean, whenever it was like I was doing something, I was like that when I got engaged that time. I got like that on a job. I mean, there have been times where my headaches have been so freaking intense. I knew that it was either I change up or it was going to kill me. I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, I got to choose me. I have to choose me, because otherwise what I'm doing is killing me. It's just killing me. And the moment you make a decision, the moment you make that choice, it's as if, spirit just backs off like, okay, all right, let's see, let's work it, right? And sometimes we do things, we get into relationships, or we get into into stuff, and we know that it's not for us. But for some reason, we can't listen to what we know is true. And then what we do is we try to, what's the word? Justify it. Well, I'm not actually doing, I'm not really, and that's what we try to do. We start with this thing about, well, but I haven't had sex with her yet, or recently, or I haven't done, I haven't lied. I'm not actually cheating, because we try to justify this stuff without recognizing that it's not what we're trying to prove to somebody out there. It's our own spirit that's putting us in check. It's our own spirit that we're lying to. So we have got to make the choice for integrity within ourselves. We just got off of that, right? Honor, integrity. This is within ourselves. This is a self-concept, not about what you can try to justify or prove. Whew. I mean, at a certain point, we ought to get tired of that, right? Trying to reconcile it in our own minds. If you got to reconcile it, you know it's wrong, right? It doesn't work. It may not be like cosmically wrong. I mean, if you really look at it on a cosmic scale, it may, but it's wrong for you. Okay. So I did. So let me. Am I preachy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I'm like, well, whatever. Somebody must need that.
Yeah. I mean, because sometimes it is so exhausting to do the same thing. You see the same game played out, and you say, man, don't you see that this is your pattern? Like, don't you see that this is something that you've done before? It's like that scene out of the Matrix. Like, you've been down that street before. You know where it ends. Well, but this time I said, yeah, that's whatever. No. Paradoxically, while the energy of the second chakra inclines us to try to control our lives, the lesson of the second chakra is that we cannot be in control.
Right. And I was going to say that a lot of times people repeat behaviors because it's safe and because they have control of the outcome, even if it feels like insanity or it appears to the people on the outside that it's insanity. People repeat behaviors because they not are really looking for a different result, but that's where they have control. It's predictable. Where, so if you take a child from an abusive home and place them into a foster home, they're not going to be appreciative of the foster home, even though to us it seems like a safe place. But the familiarity of that that we've taken them from, they were in control of that experience. Even if it was just a modicum of control, they had that area of control. They recognized, they learned how to keep themselves as safe as they could. Now I'm coming over here to a bunch of foreign people who know nothing about me. I know nothing about them. That creates even a greater heightened sense of insecurity, fearfulness. And even though in that space, just like trying to learn something new, they may be better off for it if, if a person comes along that is going to get, treat them well. But there's a sense of security in the familiar, and there's a sense of control in the familiar. So somebody can pick the same kind of person over and over again because they know how to do that dance, and then they do it, and they just, it's where they are. But it's more about security and being in control than it is like what is wrong with you. There is nothing wrong intrinsically. The person is really, that's their way of feeling safe. It's a obscure way of feeling safe, but it is their way of keeping themselves safe as they know how.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's interesting because I think, let me see if I could give you a for instance. So I like the foster care and the kids, because that is the safety and security is one of our primary issues and primary needs. And it is something that continues to play out for us throughout our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also there is this thing that we do where, say, for instance, you have people who, what I'll take it from one standpoint. Well, you'll have people who will say, well, I'm not actually like, I'm not misleading them, right? They will say, I'm not lying, I'm not misleading, I'm not doing A, B, C, or D. They'll make it like that. They'll try to justify their actions. They'll go through those things. I wonder how that ice cream was with yesterday that Erica had. But they'll go through these different things and try to justify it as if they can, like as they're telling me about it, as if they're trying to then justify it. And it's like, this is the same pattern that you've done. If you are, say, for instance, if you didn't have an intention, if you weren't doing anything, if it's just to amuse yourself, because I have been in situations where I look at I love having good conversation, right? You know that about me. I love to have some good conversation. And I'm not like particular. It can be good conversation with any. It just sit back and relax and have some in-depth conversation. I don't like shallow stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we just talking about some chicken head stuff, I'm straight with that. But when I find somebody I can have some really good, deep conversation, I love that. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I can't tell when somebody is attracted to me, right? Male or female. I kind of get that. I kind of know. And so if I am kind of like dangling it along, if I'm sitting there and I'm playing in something, without putting clear parameters up, then I would be misleading.
Yes. Yes.
And so sometimes what people do is that they want to sit there and they want to, because our ego loves that attention.
Yeah.
Our ego absolutely loves the attention. And so we can't let it go once it seems like it's there, because, ooh, you're paying attention to me. I'm basking in the glow of your adoration and all of that stuff. Who doesn't like to be adored? That is part of our psyche. But that also comes at a cost, because what we are doing sometimes is we're being duplicitous.
Mm.
Sometimes we just being straight out duplicitous. And so I don't know. Maybe I'm just off on a rant because of a story I heard and that I'm not necessarily willing to share. All right. So yeah, but somebody did ask the question of how do you know, how do you know what your patterns are? And I'm sitting there saying, how do you not know what your patterns are?
Yeah.
I can tell you because I've been watching you for this many number of years. And so I know what your patterns are. Every month you think you're in love. Every month it's a whole new thing. And then it's like, yeah, no, that's not working, or yeah, no. And then she got pissed. What? Hello? This is a freaking pattern. It's a pattern. Okay. So Al co-signed. He said the child in foster care is an excellent example. Consider this: the ongoing re-election of an incumbent that's done damage and created havoc in general. And in essence, we're asking ourselves and others to grow out along with growing, to go along, or is it to grow out along with growing up, without growing up, or to go along without growing up? And so, yeah, some people will re-elect the same knuckleheads over and over again, because one of the things that they do is sometimes people say, oh, I heard this at the very first time I heard this, I heard it from a pulpit. The pastor got up when he was talking about who he was endorsing for a candidacy is he says, the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't. I was like,
that just summed up my foster care metaphor.
I was like thinking, like, really? I mean,
you said that out loud, out your mouth.
Yes, that was of the pastor of the church that I had gone to on that particular day. He said, the devil that you know. You can anticipate. So
it's exact. That is it. It is a mindset. It is a mindset that is like, it is hypnotizing. That, and then you just walk around like, the Walking Dead. Until you want to wake up. And then I work with the people who say this shit is hard. It's so much easier to go back to the blind life than the life where I'm awake, because that life is unknown. It's just it's scary. But I think when the student is ready, that I think that when the student is ready, or when life is ready, when it's time, gotta get up, so
yeah. So Al is running for office, so I get that is, sometimes where our mind is where we build our analogies from. So yeah, Al Bridges. So paradoxically, so we are physical beings and energy beings, but since the physical world cannot be controlled, the task before us is to master our inner responses to the external world, our thoughts and our emotions. And I tell you, this was big for me, because one of the things that I have done and I have said over the years is that I stopped caring about what other people did when I was able to control my responses. that I was no longer triggered by if you're lying to me or if something else is going astray. Because then what I do is I developed a certain level of trust within myself. When I trust myself, you could do whatever it is that you want to do. I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
know
handle
where
it.
I'm at.
Yeah, I'm gonna be just fine. And so one of the things that I know is no matter what comes up, this too shall pass. There is a total impermanence. And sometimes we get that there is this clear insight that sometimes stuff is not about us. People don't lie because of you. They lie because of who they are, who
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah,
People,
no, not sometimes, all the
yeah,
time.
okay, all the time, all the
People
time.
lie
Thank you.
because that is who they are. They don't have enough trust in themselves to tell the truth, or courage or confidence within who they are to stand in their truth. So then they lie for self-protection. Whatever the excuse is not ever about us. It's
Do
not.
you ever think that people just don't recognize that they're lying when they're lying?
I don't know about that.
Somebody told me,
Well,
they said, if her mouth is moving, then she's lying. I was like, oh, that's rude. And so sometimes you just wonder if people have lost touch.
oh yeah, there are people who have lost touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
there are
don't
people
know
who
that
have lost.
they're lying anymore because it's just that becomes
But
such a
let me just say, in my humble
okay,
opinion,
okay,
that I think that people, because I have family members like that, and I
okay.
think it's because people be like, yeah, really, da da da, instead of saying like my mama and me would be like, now how did you do that? With because I was challenged, but I think because people don't challenge it. And one of the things that I've noticed is that people who do just lie habitually, when you challenge it, they just don't talk to you anymore, which is cool with me, because I don't
Okay.
like to have to decipher the realities from, I'm
Yeah.
not getting paid for that. So why am I going to stand here and do this with you? But yeah, I think that people get away with that way back there. And so nobody challenges it. And then it just becomes like, oh, okay. It becomes
Mm,
muscle memory. I
mm,
think that's my humble opinion. I don't have no scientific facts, but yes, I do believe there are people who believe their story. And I think that we all, I don't know, I don't know. If somebody is close enough to me, I think I want to say something. I want to challenge it. And I know that that's not a thing. I know everybody, there's this huge, yeah, anyway. But yeah, there are people who do it. And I think they do it because they get away with having that experience and no one challenges that reality. Like, what? You just, said yesterday that, da, 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 da,
yeah. Well, I will say that I don't always challenge people's lies. Al just said that people lie for self-protection. And
Absolutely.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes when you, especially when you recognize that idea of they're doing this because they don't feel good enough or because they don't think that I just kind of like think like, okay. I don't necessarily feel the need to say to somebody like it, but I know you're lying. I have,
Mhm.
but that's not my normal. My normal is just a note to self. This person, their word doesn't have any honor in it, and I take it with a grain of salt. That's that's usually how I deal with that. Um, so 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 when they talk about this idea of our inner responses can take us across the board to so much, right? The inner response is do we allow ourselves to be pulled down or dragged down a rabbit hole just because somebody else is there? And so for what I know is that, sometimes we can get all caught up in what people say, into the dramas that they create, and then create one or participate in other people's dramas. But there is this wonderful thing I remember seeing on a Cosby show. Cosby was talking about, he was talking to his son-in-law. It was one of the children had gotten married. And he said that one of the things that he learned was is that sometimes the best response is just, you know, just let it go. Because you know, in order to fight or in order to argue, it takes two, right? And sometimes you just got to say to people, yeah, I can't go there with you. I know, yeah, I got you, but I can't go there with you, right? So so we have to learn how to master our inner responses to whatever the situation might be. Nevertheless, we struggle in the seemingly never-ending cycle of disappointment, which attempts to control our lives. And I don't even know why I'm going through reading as much of this as I am, but because I think this power of choice is so vitally important. We search endlessly for one grand choice that will put everything in our lives into permanent order. And sometimes we think that that's a relationship. Sometimes we think that's marriage. Sometimes we think that's going to college, or sometimes I don't know what people think their grand choice is going to be, but sometimes they have this perception that this, you know, if I do this, everything like dominoes is just going to fall into place. I hear people sometimes telling me about, you know, their perception of, I got to spend more time with God, right? I got to give God more time. You know, I am one to tell you that all your time is God's time. We have the illusion that there is my time and then God's time, but all time is God's time. Now, you can choose to be conscious about it. That's what I would say. You can be conscious about it or you can be unconscious about it.
Right.
But sometimes what you have to do is recognize that at every moment, this thing that you call God is right where you are. It is just in and through all of these things. It is just whether or not you're paying attention. He is never absent. You are never alone. You are never not seen. You are never not heard. But you can make a choice to not hear, to not see, to not acknowledge, to not, right? And just because I'm not going around, I don't go around telling everybody praise the Lord and hallelujah and all of that stuff. That's not the way I roll. But the way that I do roll is knowing that I got a witness that is always looking through my eyeballs. I got a witness that is always with me. I got a posse. I got a posse. And so it's how do we see this, right? How do we come into the awareness of when it said before, this all is one, right? That was the first choice that we talked about, was this thing of all is one. And then as we moved into this second chakra, we came into this what's the name of this chakra besides the
sacral chakra?
Yeah, no, I'm saying the you know, we've got the thing that says all is one, and then the other one is
the root chakra, the tribal chakra.
The tribal chakra, but you know, this has its own it's not the sapphire, it's the
Baptismal, the sacrament. Are you looking for?
girl.
What?
I just lost it just that quick. Give me 1 second so I can thumb back through this and tell you what number 2 is. It is honor one another. Right. So the first one was all is one, and this one is honor one another.
Mm-hmm.
It's the partnership chakra. And so that's what basically what we're trying to do, is to talk about how this idea of honoring one another shows up in our relationships, shows up in what we do, in the choices that we make, all of those things, that idea of honoring one another. So she goes in here on to say, in looking for a single external person or a thing that will forever bring peace, stability, love, and health, we dismiss more authentic power that lies behind our eyes and not in front of them. So we're busy making choices about the stuff out there without recognizing that really the work that needs to be done is within us. I watched this really powerful interview the other day of I forget what her name is. I forget all the information around it. But one of the things that she talked about was that, she says that we really ought to, if we are really trying to evaluate how people are and if it's a fit, she was like, you want to gravitate towards people who have the ability to work on themselves, to know that, because what part of the thing is we like, I'm perfect. It's that I keep meeting knuckleheads. Well, if you keep meeting knuckleheads, or if there's something that's inherently wrong within you, and I don't mean to use the word wrong, but if there is some kind of stuff that you're working on within you, right, then what you're going to do is draw people who serve as your teacher.
Right.
And then that friction will seem like, it's like two heads butting together, when really what we ought to be doing is if I'm growth minded, I want to be around somebody else who is growth minded. I don't want to be around somebody who is just like, I'm fine the way I am, or that I haven't changed in 25 years. There's nothing wrong with me. It must be something wrong with you. I want to be about the business of, let's grow up. Let's both grow up, right? Grow up together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it becomes, us recognizing that this person that's before us is the person that we've invited. We've invited them with our energy. There's something about us that says, oh, you're a match. And then they come in, and then, when all of a sudden it seems like things are falling apart, or what was it that we did wrong? Oh my
Well,
gosh.
but you're a match for my growth.
Well, yeah, it could be that you're a match for my growth.
Well, most of
Yes.
the time it is.
Huh?
I said, well, most of the time it is. I mean,
Well,
because
but
living things change, and changing things grow. Like we're constantly growing things change.
yes.
Like what that's what growth is. That's what life is. That's what living is.
But some people ain't trying to grow.
No, they're not. They're not.
Some people, I'm not talking about what folks do, because I mean, I realize all of us, we have these lives, and I tell people all the time, there is a value or currency in our lives that says, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so exhausted, I'm just, by the time I get home, yeah, I just want to sit here and play video games, or by the time I get home, I don't want to hear any of that stuff, or I don't have the energy to meditate. I don't have the energy to exercise. I don't have, people will tell you, and they are just on a thing of shutdown,
Right.
right? And so there's a lot of people who don't necessarily want to grow.
That's big for you today.
I'm there's a part of me that was just like sitting up there thinking to myself, do I even feel like, why do I not feel, maybe this is because I missed my meditation this morning.
Oh.
Because I missed my workout. Well, I worked out a little bit, but maybe my morning is all off, but I don't feel like I'm smooth. Like most of the time, I just feel like but today I'm feeling some kind of energy that has me like, what is this? I'm I feel like bing bing bing.
I feel you for real.
Right. It's tripping me out. I feel like I'm efforting. And I don't know why that is. The truth contained within the paradoxical nature of dualism is this. What is dualism? Okay, let me read this. It is not what we choose that matters. Our power to influence an outcome lies in our reason for making a choice, a certain choice. Ooh. It's not the outcome that matters, right? What we choose, no, it's not what we choose that matters. It's not what we choose that matters. So the Benz or the Fiesta or a bicycle. Our power to influence an outcome lies in our reason for making a certain choice.
That's
I
good.
love I love that.
Yeah.
What's the reason? What's the reason you make a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if I go back to that job thing I was talking about earlier, people's reason for taking a job is varied, right? Sometimes it is the salary, sometimes it's the position or the influence or the proximity to a location or um, upward mobility. The reason people take positions vary across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But wonder if we took a position because it's aligned to our values, as opposed to it just paying a lot of money.
Feels. Mm-hmm.
Or wonder if it feels more resonant because it's on our life path than because, and sometimes that means that people will go and work in places where, you know, since it resonates to making them feel as if they are contributing to the world, right? That it has some deeper, more profound impact on the world than it pays, right? So the reasoning behind it, what she's saying matters.
Right.
Not the thing itself, but what's the reason for doing it. So when we talked about this idea of having a house of healing or doing healing work or any number of those things, the reason behind it is not so, ooh, our egos can be invested in it.
Yeah,
Ooh, people
no.
are important. Ooh, so our name can go up across the board. Or, ooh, it's not ego based, right?
Right.
It becomes because we recognize that all the work that we do, the love that we're giving, we're really, this is part of the mission. We're really only loving God. We're really loving ourselves. We're really connecting. We're recognizing that the healing of the planet is what we're here for. This is
Exactly.
part of the purpose. That's the reason back of it. It's not the other stuff. And
Exactly.
sometimes we're so freaking shallow because this is what the world has taught us. The world has taught us how to be shallow, as opposed to really looking at this and saying, man, what am I giving to this planet? What am I doing? How, you know, to so you know, I so sometimes it is like when I think about one of the most profound things that Jesus said in his teachings for me was this idea. He said, to this end was I born, right? Because people kept telling him, you don't have to do this. And he was like, to this end was I born. Sometimes people never get a clue about what the end was that they were born for. What did they come? I know that when I talk, I feel like I am, and I don't know where this is going to end up or that it'll end up somewhere. I don't know what to do with this, but when I talk, I feel as if I am in my element. I feel as if I'm giving my milk. I feel as if I'm doing something that matters. And when I don't, I feel like I'm gonna explode or implode. I feel like I am, like it'll just drive me nuts. Like to the point where if I go out, I'm gonna be that crazy person down on the corner, just standing out there talking to whoever will listen. I'm just so thankful that I have a computer and internet in my house that I don't have to go stand, because I have thought seriously about getting on the bus and walking down the aisle and telling people that, like, you don't have to live like this. You can choose joy, you can choose happiness. You don't have to be mad. You don't have to look at it like the world. I want to just walk down the bus thing and say, hand out this thing and say, here, I can show you how to be happy. It's that, but that is part of who I am. I feel like that is what I got to do to express. I'm just so grateful that I got people to the. I mean, sure enough, somebody will be like, this heifer crazy. This heifer done lost her freaking mind. Did you hear
That's
me?
what it takes to be a healer, though. You have to lose your mind. You cannot stay in your mind. It's not a mind thing anyway.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You're in good company. Good company.
I have given up worrying about what people think about me anyway, but it just, it's like, this is what gives me joy. And I just wish everybody could find what gives them joy and then do that.
And then choose
Let
it.
that
Yeah.
light them up.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you live in a society that is not cool to be smart. So
yeah,
it's not cool to be smart. So then you as a parent, you send your kids, I homeschooled because it wasn't cool to be smart, but other parents who can afford that luxury send their kids to parochial schools with other children who have the desire to learn and want to be smart. And so they have that collective energy and everybody's being their highest and best self. I think it's the same with our adultness and socializing, is that you have to find your tribe where it's okay to want to heal and to see and be able to have an experience and be like, oh my God, can you imagine if the whole entire world was feeling this experience? Like, that is the coolest. So you just kind of gravitate, or life brings you, as you're a magnet, brings that experience to you so that you surround yourself. But it is not cool for this moment. This is not cool. This ain't the trend. But let somebody get sick or let someone have reached their crises, then this becomes a cool place.
Yeah.
And so it's good to be available for that. And it's good to know what your strengths are, what you came to the planet to do. But a lot of times when we're in it, it's not the everybody don't want to be smart. They do want to be smart, but it's not the cool thing is not to be smart. Everybody wants freedom, but they don't want freedom. It's what I know as a clinician. And people want change, but they don't want change because it's so unfamiliar. Going back to where we started, that's so unfamiliar. So people make the same choices over and over again because they feel safe in that. And you have to, I don't like to use the word have to, but it's important for us to recognize that so that we calm ourselves down and have the grace to be able to say, I get that. I get that this is a hard choice for you. I get that. And then I'm just the messenger, and I'm going to go to the next person, and I'm going to give the message to the next and to the next and to the next. And I can come back around if need be. If you're
Mm-hmm.
still here, I'm a constant for you. I am going to be constant because I believe this stuff that I'm saying out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But having that grace to know that everybody's not going to be like,
So
oh, yeah.
I wonder if because that box, I call it a box, right? That box that we call safety,
Mm-hmm.
um, we have been trained. We
Absolutely.
we talk about the elephant. We talk about, ooh, the elephant is so huge and so big, and once you train an elephant to stay on a little cord, all you got to do is put the cord on him, and he won't even resist. And so, um, you know, that's basically how you train an elephant, but that's how you train anybody. So
Yeah.
so it becomes this thing that people get in these boxes and they stay in their boxes. They're sitting in these little tight boxes. And then because you're not out of the box or not in a box, right? And you out dancing in the rain and everything, they looking at you and they saying, ha, 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 ha. That's what little kids do in school, right? They start
Yeah.
pointing the finger at you and they laugh at you, right? Because you don't know that you're supposed to get in the box too. Now, I was like this in elementary school. Who said I had to color inside the lines? What? Why can't I color any way I want to color? But they teach you color inside the lines, and if you don't color in the lines
It's wrong.
inside the lines and color all in one direction, that's not neat. It's not good. And
Mm-hmm.
so, does it start off there? Color inside the lines, meaning you stay your ass inside the lines.
Yeah.
I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. We got to practice coloring outside the lines. We got
Right.
to get out of the box. Go dance in the rain. Something. But that act of rebellion actually gives you the awareness that no matter what, remember yesterday when I was talking about this idea of seeing big, and when you seeing big, what you'll do is that you'll see that the capacity for forgiveness, the capacity for to for things to go right,
Grace.
to be wonderful. That is what actually opens up when you just recognize that you're not meant to play small. You're not meant to fit inside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Meant to live out there at the edge. Okay. All right, y'all. um, oh, I wonder why he had no Wi-Fi. My brother has made it, has landed. So I'm so grateful and glad about that. All right. So you guys, while I felt like I was off kilter today, it's all good.
It
Gretchen
is.
Gretchen said, her my daily energy is bing bam boom. so so hey, I you know what? So let me say again, I apologize for those of you. No, I don't. Sorry, not sorry, right? We will not be here over the weekend. We are taking off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at least, right? And so check back on Tuesday, if not Tuesday, Wednesday, but check back with us, and we should be back on. I might jump on and off of here, but not for any significant amount of time, because I don't want to be constricted to having to be here at this hour, and knowing that I'm about to have an amazing weekend. So I want you to go and have an amazing weekend. Be conscious, watch your stuff, right? Even if you are around family, just kind of observe, be aware, because awareness is amazing. and
Yeah.
and here's the thing. I heard that lady on that thing. She said that if you if you stop saying stuff or stop doing stuff just because you recognize you're people pleasing, she says sometimes people wouldn't have anything to say at all. And so I wonder if, and I know this is hard for most of us, if you could just stop people pleasing. If you could just like, if, you know, just if see what it's like to step outside of your box, your normal.
Mm-hmm. Whatever that is.
Yeah. Just step outside the box. All right. I love y'all. I will see you back here. Yes, on Tuesday.
All right.
God willing, and the creek don't rise. I'll put up a message if I'm not gonna be here on Tuesday, because but it should be Tuesday.
All righty.
And I'll probably be here on Sunday. I'll probably be here on Sunday at 1.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I do have commitments to keep. So yeah, all of that. All right. Have an amazing weekend. I don't even know how to say goodbye for the weekend. Oh,
don't burst.
Wonderful. You say don't what?
Don't burst. Don't burst, because you won't get to talk to us. We'll hold it down for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
All right. Thank you too. Been a blessing.
Everybody.
Have a good one.
Yes.
Have fun.
Well, yeah, not sorry. Not sorry. Look, me saying I'm sorry means I'm people pleasing. I'm not trying to people please. Just
doing your work. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. All right.
Cool beans. All right. Have an amazing weekend though. Enjoy.
Yes. Okay. Bye.